Oh my God, no.
Okay, I got it. Okay. Cool. Welcome to another episode of What is Happening with Your Life Right Now. We are still on the same topic on caregiving, the season of caregiving. If you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch it. We gave you some statistics. Yvette shared her story. I shared a little bit of some background with my mom and my father-in-law. But today we have a special guest. It's Maria Lujan, one of our former clients, and we're excited to have you
honored.
here.
Thank you so much.
So excited.
For those just now watching, we wrote a book last year. Is it What is Happening with My Life Right Now?
Great book, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh, shout out.
Shout out. Shout out in the studio. And Yvette and I were ending season 5 of the podcast, and we decided, what are we going to do next year? And we thought, why don't we do our book in a podcast, but also really talk about all the seasons in the life that a woman goes through, the ones that maybe we hear a lot about and the ones that we don't hear about at all. And in the last episode, we talked about the statistics of Gen Zs and Millennials being caregivers and what it's doing financially, what it's doing emotionally, really their mindset, and really just a whole shift in their life. And so every episode or every topic every month, we're going to have a client on that has gone through the season or maybe is in the season. And we just thought, why not have you on so you can share your story about your beautiful parents and just the season of that you're in with them and caregiving and kind of like what that is. So just introduce yourself a little bit to the viewers.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Well, I am honored beyond, I can say that. You know, these beautiful ladies have really given me an opportunity to flourish in whatever season I'm in. And I just cannot be more grateful than being here to share what I have gone through in regards to caregiving. And yep, that's it.
Love it. Well, let's talk about kind of like when you became a caregiver, because I feel like that was when you were with us.
I'm going back. You know, it's so interesting because I feel I was preparing for that because my parents are at an age that I knew it was going to be a time that was going to come up. So in a way, I felt I was preparing for it, but then all of a sudden it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God. And, you know, once again, being professional, being businesswoman, being a mother, being a grandmother, being a wife, being a daughter, being all these things that you want to be, right? And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, what happened here? How am I going to handle all that? The beauty of it is that when you start preparing, you have some tools. For me, the support system that I had for quite a while really helped me to kind of stop and say, okay, this is the season that came. You were preparing for it, but now how are you going to handle it? Because, you know, parents, especially when they are in a certain age, they're not children. And, you know, I learned that through this process. We think they are becoming children because, you know, they have their own ways. But in reality, what happens is that you become an adult with another adult with different mindset. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. So, you know, my dad has always been very independent. He's always active. And I'm going to tell his age. He's 75 years old. So for him was a huge decision to say, I'm going to go through this because I want to continue to be healthy and I want to continue to be active. So when that happened, I said, okay, I respect that. I didn't want him to do that because I'm like, he's this age. What if something happens? You know, he has more risk. So we went through the whole process. And, you know, the first day that he was at the hospital, I really said, I'm going to step back and I'm going to view where we are. I'm at this season of my life. He is at this season of his life. So how can I become in the middle to not step the boundaries that if I would have not been having all these tools and resources, I probably would have stepped into those boundaries with him and it would have been a disaster. I can tell you that.
Okay, Marie, I don't want to interrupt, but I kind of want to interrupt because in my head, I'm going to interrupt. Because two things, I think. One, because you just clearly articulated, and I know that someone's listening going, how does she know my life right now, right? It's like they're like, oh my gosh. So one, can you share, because I think the feeling side of it is super important, of how you feel as a person when this all starts to unfold, because that's the reality and we're real here. And then secondly, you say tools and resources, but to the person who doesn't know what that means, will you explain what that meant to you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what I meant by saying, I need to stop and say, okay, where am I with my emotions, with my feelings, and with the situation? Because sometimes what happens is that everything comes at once, and it was a surprise for me. It was really a surprise for me. So I could have just like gone all crazy. I could have just said, I can't take care of you, or I don't know, what am I going to do? I probably thought that at the beginning, but because of the support system, the tools and resources, while I did coaching with amazing coaches that I have, that really, I was able to put those tools and resources in practice while I went through this process. So, my feelings, of course, I'm human. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And I think you remember, I just isolated myself because it just came up.
Which is a natural response.
But I isolated because I wanted to put my thoughts together. I wanted to have my feelings not in place, because once again, I'm a human, right? But I'm like, okay, I'm going through this emotion. How am I going to embrace it so that I can actually apply the tools and resources that I've been getting from my coaching, from my therapy? Is so important. Ladies, please. It doesn't matter what age you are. We go through so many things. Please leave the ego to the side.
Yes.
Leave your pride to the side.
Yes.
And I say this because when I came into coaching, my pride was up here, and I did not want to accept that I needed that guidance. Many don't want to call it help. Many don't want to call it, I don't know, but it is a guide, because we are so caught up with what's going on with our life as a female, with being independent, wanting to perform under society, being competitive. So, when you step back and you look at that movie, because it's a movie, you're like, okay, so that has been my movie. So cut right now, and I'm starting another episode of my movie.
It's like you were at Haven.
I know, I swear. I was just thinking that. I'm like,
did this exercise at Haven.
Were you there? Are you like...
Stop it. I'm literally
Seriously.
going here like we
No.
just talked about.
Yeah, the
watching-
theme was your next chapter, and one of the sessions that Gio did was fully on just relating your life to like your movie.
Your movie's on the screen.
Your movie's on the screen. What
You're
people
in the audience. What are you saying to yourself?
See, that's what I'm talking about. Resources and tools, therapy, coaching, because your frequency gets connected. It doesn't matter where you are. We are energy.
Go girl.
Yeah.
And when there is a connection and there's frequency that is aligned, this is what happens.
And so this is a great example of what coaching does, because you were being proactive versus being reactive. And most people in that situation, there's no right or wrong here.
There's no right.
It becomes like you said, I can't do this. What about me? I have the kids. I have my grandkids. Like, what about my life? I don't have the money. Like, there's all these things that come up, and instead you pulled back. I really say you paused.
I was going to say you did our favorite word. You paused.
I don't know. I mean, yes, it seemed to other people can be like isolation, but you paused and you said, I'm going to take care of Maria right now, mentally, emotionally, physically. And what can Maria do right now? And most people don't do that because they don't think they can pause on their life. Instead, they just go, they react, and normally it's in the negative, and then everything is a ripple effect in the negative energy. And you did the opposite, and you took care of yourself. You had your therapist, you had your coaches, you used those tools, you asked the questions, you were very vulnerable, and then you said, okay, this is the capacity that I can do, being the mom, being the daughter, being the grandmother, being the boss, because you can't do it all. And then you were really good at going, okay. And then you met your parents where they were.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
They're also Latino parents in
Eh,
their
ye-
70s.
Absolutely.
That's not part of their culture.
Exactly.
Or what they were brought up with.
Exactly. And you
Right.
know, it's so interesting. I'm sorry. It's
That's
so
okay.
interesting because it was not just my dad. It was also my mom.
Yep.
She was holding it back. And, you know, through this process, when we were going through the recovery process, all of a sudden she broke down. She was holding it. And, you know, I was in a space that I was clear that I also needed to not take care of her, but give her that love within this particular season. Like you said, they're Latinos. They don't express their feelings.
They gotta be strong.
Yeah, exactly.
like,
So
oh.
they hold it. So when that happened with my mom, I said, okay, now I need to let me step back again and let me see how I can integrate my mom and her processing and her emotions so that she doesn't feel either left out or she doesn't feel overwhelmed. And it's not that I'm taking that, and I want to make sure that we understand this. We're not taking the burden on. I was not taking that. I was just evaluating, you know, we are adults. As adults, how can we get to the midpoint where I don't invade your space? You don't feel that I'm treating you like a child, and it doesn't seem that I am being demanding or I'm telling you what to do. Ladies, you know, we don't like that. And believe me, when you are in the caregiving season, the other party does not want that either. Especially, you know, if your parents are really active and independent.
Yeah.
You have to understand and you have to go deep down in you to really let go, control, first of all, let go of your needs because, you know, the control and your needs are like, you need to do this. No, you can't do that. No. Okay, what are their needs? Okay, for my dad, his needs would let me and then I'll ask for help. Right there, that was the message for us. Okay, he will ask us for help because he doesn't want, you know, he wants to recover.
Communication and setting the boundaries.
Exactly. For my mom is, hey mom, how you doing? Hey, let's go out and have a walk. Let's go out to the movies. Let's go out. Okay, so now we have two different perspectives of caregiving for two adults that are going through the same season and they don't know how to communicate, but I think I was able to create an environment where they
were their
were really
moderator.
going.
You were their moderator.
And their safe
And
space.
safe space.
Their safe
This
space.
just became a master class, you guys. we went from an episode to this just became your master class. Maria, do you even need us in this episode? I feel like we should just walk off the set right now.
I definitely
But
do.
you were also realigning energy because that's what you were doing. People don't realize that it's such that's in the power of three because it was your mom and your dad at the same time. Two different mindsets, two different ways of what was happening. But you, number one thing, prepared yourself and
See,
you poured back into
that's-
you before you can pour into them.
That's one thing I am really emphasizing. Thank you to my coaches. Thank you for my therapist because sometimes, you know, you go through that process and it's like, I don't know if I'm learning something. I don't know. Why am I doing all this? But look, all of a sudden it happened. Something happened that I was able to actually apply what I have been taught by my coaches. So that to me is like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Okay, I want to go back to what I was just going to let you talk, but again, I feel like someone's listening to you and they're like, again, why is she speaking directly to me? The part where you're saying you have to ask for help, I think that applies whether it's caregiving or mentally someone's not doing well or they're thinking about getting a divorce or they're making a transition in their life. No matter what it is, we think that we're being strong and that we're more courageous and we can get through it if we do it by ourselves. Because I think there's fear. What if someone finds out? Does this make me sound weak? Is someone going to
Shame.
judge me? The shame, the guilt. And it's crazy because it's in all reality, it's like you're just being a human.
Exactly.
You're literally being a normal person with
Exactly.
feelings, and it's okay. It's sad that it's the outside world that puts that pressure and makes us feel that way, but it also is coming from within, right? We only let what's come in what we let come in.
That is correct.
And if we don't have that fortitude of, hey, this is going to be messy for a minute.
right.
I may not feel okay. I may be sad. I may be a little depressed. I'm allowed to do that,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
it's okay.
It's okay.
And that's where I think the magic happens of, okay, so here it is. What
what am I going to do with it?
what am I going to do with it? Because if you don't know what that is, how do you know what to do with what it is?
Exactly. Well, once again, I think it has to do, first of all, with culture. Second, the fact that women back in the days, were not allowed to certain think for themselves. They were just into the world to get married, have children, no voice, know what's happening in my life, and if something is happening,
We don't talk about it. Yeah.
so, that in a way has been carried over, and generations again, the energy continues, and
going.
until the person who's like, you know what, enough is enough, and I need to do something because I'm at this season or this stage of my life. I still have 100 years to go, and I don't want to be feeling like this.
Yeah.
So you put aside anything that was founded or anything that was within you as you were going through life, because other than that, it's just going to be like, ooh, I'm going to die, and it's going to be like, ugh, I want to die like. Then you want to come back, and it's like, okay, so now how do I get back where I wanted to be? So it's really, matter, like you said, like finances, right? First thing, fear. But it's fear because of the unknown. Now, once you have all the information, there's life coaching, there's therapy, there's mentoring, there's this. The fear should be of not getting into all that support. And, if it doesn't work, well, try something else. But if you don't try and you don't say enough is enough, and I do want to share this because, when I came and said, I need help, I was running on an empty tank. So that's what really made me realize I don't want to be living like this no more, and I'm just going to go for it. Was I uncomfortable? Definitely.
Yeah.
I wanted to quit after the first coaching session.
That's with therapy. That's with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it
It's
doesn't matter
uncomfortable.
going to the doctor. Anytime there's a problem, then you have to go get the solution, and the solution is normally a product or a person or a service. And nobody wants to be like, oh, I can't wait to go to the doctor. I can't wait to go have surgery. I can't wait to go see my therapist. But it does become that because when you use it to the positive of like, okay, wait, this is the help that I need. We got like athletes. We talk about that all the time on previous podcasts. Like athletes have so much support.
Yep.
I mean,
Exactly.
chiropractors, they're, doctors, like all the things. And they're like, yeah, I can't survive without that. That's how we should equip ourselves. It's the same exact way.
Exactly.
And again, but depending on where you're at, and if it's finances, if it's life, if it's, there's so many things, there's so many experts out there. That's why coaching is like number 1 or 2 industry in the United States, because
I agree.
it's so down to the like whatever it is that you need, there's probably somebody out there that can help you. But nobody ever even takes that step because they're like, I don't have time and I don't have money. Back to why we do what we do, because you got to make the time and you got to invest in yourself, because if not, it's just a broken record. And then you're not breaking the generational shift, and then you're now, even if you don't have kids, you're still teaching the younger generation what your parents taught you.
Right.
And someone's got to break it, which you did that for your family.
One of the big questions we've been asking lately is, what is your life like now? And what if nothing ever changed? Would you be okay with that?
Okay, say that again.
Okay, so if we all look at our lives right now, and like, okay, let's just say you're at a place where you're like, I'm running on empty. You had a choice. And it was like, well, what if someone would have come to you and said, Maria, you are the way you are then, running on empty. If your life never changed and you never did anything to quote unquote get better, be better, feel better, do all the things, are you comfortable and okay that this is your life? When you're 85, you look back and go, it was just this the whole time. Empty, 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 empty. And it's rhetorical, but I think most people don't think ahead and go, think right now. I'm 57 years old. I've had 57 years already pass in a blink of an eye. I will be the 77-year-old person in 20 years
Sure.
going, I made decisions and choices. And if I would have just stayed in the status quo with just being like, I don't want to have to do the work. I don't want to have to invest in myself. Am I okay with that? And honestly, some people can say,
They are.
yeah, they are. But I think more people, there's a quiet majority that are scared of the unknown, or like they go, I don't know how to do that, or I'm scared to admit that
I need the
I
help.
need that. And what are my first steps?
Well, for me, since I got to that point, I probably visualize myself, okay, the next 80 years.
I like how Maria's outliving all of it.
What-
Yeah, Maria's gonna be
Yes, Maria.
200.
I'm going to live 150
We need that
years.
episode.
This is energy
You
and
know,
frequencies and
I
how we're
thought
living
to
longer.
myself, okay, so I'm this age, right? And then looking back at my movie, no. So I either do it, or if I don't do it, I'm not going to be complaining. So which one do you want, Maria? Okay, yeah, I want to live 150 years, but I want to live them at my terms now, because I used to live in the world's terms. So this right here is like,
I like that. I'm not living on the world's terms. People are going to get a t-shirt. I like that. But that's the truth.
It
Because
is the
most
truth.
people get to an age where like, we've already been doing this for so long. Why am I going to change now? And then there's other people, again, doesn't matter how old you are, that it's like, I gotta do something.
exactly.
I gotta do something.
Exactly.
And
Actually, the
hopefully-
younger you are, the better to
Yeah.
actually ask yourself
Yeah,
that question.
absolutely,
Yeah.
And you know, let's keep in mind the world now is completely different.
Yes.
So, what do we want to do? Do we want to stay stagnant, or do we want to make that change so that future generations see what a good world can look
Yeah.
like whenever they get to the age that we are in?
But then they
That's a
do live
great-
to 150 because of us.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe more than that.
Yes.
Maybe
I was
more
going
than
to say
that.
that's a good segue actually into Maria. If someone's listening to this podcast, they're going through what you have been going through, aging parents, the transition, all the things, you've been so real. If you could just like, at the end of the day, maybe they feel defeated, maybe they're just like worn out, tired, and they're listening to you right now before they go to bed. What is something that you would want to say to encourage them at this moment in time?
Sure. You know, the first thing I would suggest is it's okay to have all the emotions because we're humans. It's okay. However, look at what's going to be your life within the next 3, 6, 9 months. Don't look any further. Just look 3, 6, or 9 months. Do you want to continue to be where you are? Or are you really committed? I don't like to call sacrifice, but are you really committed to embrace and make those changes, whether it's coaching, therapy, setting boundaries, or what is it that you know in that space is going to make you feel like you really want to make that change? So that will be my best advice. You have to look within you. Nobody can tell you, because many people can say, you need this, you need that. But when you sit down in that moment where you feel defeated and you're like, okay, where do I see myself in 3 months from now? And your answer is going to come to you. Your answer is going to come to you. But you really need to sit down and tune down or turn off the noise. Because if we don't do that, sometimes we sit down and we're like, okay, no. How do you do that? Only you can determine how you can find that space so that you can turn everything off and just say, okay, where do I see myself? And you're going to get your answer. You're going to get your answer. So that's what I would
She did. She used the pause, and you definitely got to ask yourself, because if you're not willing, it doesn't matter. We can give you the plan, we can give you the therapist, you can get the coach, you can go get the mentor, you can get the finance, take the workshop, read the book, listen to the podcast. But if you're not willing to change,
Yep.
it's not going to happen. Well, I don't know how this episode became a masterclass, but I love it.
'Cause it's
Thank
Maria.
you, Maria, for
Thank you.
being here with us. Like, again, when we are doing our topics every month, we have a client in mind that's going to come and speak on their season, because we can talk about it, but it's really you
Yeah.
going through it, sharing, because the most important thing is the emotional connection with our viewers, because I know there's many people out there what I call suffering in silence, and they feel like they're the only one. So if just one person watches this episode and goes, oh my God, thank you so much, because that's what I'm going through, reach out to us, know that we're here. The book is also available, but sometimes it's just the pause and asking yourself the questions. So Maria, thank you for being on.
Thank
you,
you
thank
both.
you,
It's an
thank you.
honor. Thank you
thanks.
so much. One more thing,
Yes. Ooh, yes.
the book.
Oh.
Because we think that we are the only ones going through that, and the book really highlights that that's not the case. So
Yeah.
please.
Oh, thank you for the plug. Well, until next time, thank you guys for being here. You know how to get a hold of us.
Bye.